ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week, December 4th, Thirsty Thursday, the Midday Market Report. Good friend and colleague, Mr. Matt Grissom, live to talk some Arkansas. Congrats. Nice, great win in hoops. Coach Cal takes down undefeated Louisville last night. Great job there. As they play all final eight teams that made it to the Elite Eight in the championship last year to start the year, which is great for the team to figure out exactly where they are. Talk some SEC, ask them about how things went in the Westgate. Talk about championship week. We were talking backstage. That's why we're a few minutes late. Shame on me. A lot to catch up to. But first and foremost, of course, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play. Download the app. It is free. And of course, as you just saw, AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. 'Tis the season. Allow Terry Smith to take care of all your gatherings, your parties, maybe even Christmas dinner. Steak, seafood, chops, appetizers, wine. Terry's got it all. Take a look at AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. Without further ado, let's bring him in. Mr. Matt Grissom. What's up, Matt?
Good morning, Jeffrey.
Hey, I know this is SEC. I know this is our football show. We will do some little basketball here and there before we get to, of course, your bread and butter baseball, which is right around the corner, of course. But, hey, had to be impressed with Coach Cal and your Razorbacks basketball team last night.
Yeah, good win. That was I don't bet a whole lot of college basketball just because it kind of falls in that, all right, wrap up college football season, and then you're getting ready for college baseball in February. So I tried to take my punches where I can. Gave out 4 plays last night, 2 of them being Arkansas +3 and the Arkansas money line. Both of them came home for a little 4-0 sweep. So started the college basketball season off 4-0. It's always
great.
fun.
Great to see again. We looked got a game you're supposed to win, of course, on Saturday. I think we said it was Fresno State.
Yeah, Fresno State.
Before I forget and get off the tangents, we were talking about a tweet that you received, and I know you always bring it up on the show. We're talking about your model and exactly what you're doing. Again, your bread and butter has always been college baseball, but the model doesn't stop. I heard there was some breaking news.
Yeah, so I decided that this year in college football, which college baseball model has kind of been the thing I've been playing with for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years now. But I decided to, with the help of ChatGPT, I don't know if you have to credit them or not, but I decided I was going to try to build a college football model. And there's a guy by the name of Andrew Percival, and he tracks models. So he's got like Sagarin ratings. He's got college football graphs, our friend Parker. and like ESPN, SP Plus, FPI, Sportsline from CBS, everything like that. And he tweeted out, this was on Sunday, said, "We have a new #1 ranked model." And lo and behold, it was me sitting atop the rankings as the most accurate college football model. Completely beside myself. I think it's awesome. I think the results could have been better for the Westgate card. Me and Sean and our joint when we finished 46 and 41, and my solo finished 44 and 44 and 3. And I texted Sean, the model plays, I think the top plays went like 10 and 3. And I was like, I have this. We should use it more. And for whatever reason, we went back and forth on several picks and never aligned with it fully. So a lot of those top model plays got left out. But lo and behold, probably should have just leaned in on that a little bit more throughout the season. But that being said, it's been an awesome tool. Glad to be able to have that incorporated into my handicap, because what the numbers see and what my eyes see don't always align. So it's good to have something to fall back on when you feel like you're on the right side, but you need some numbers to back it up.
I'm having a hard time with my headphones here. Hold on one second, Matt.
A little bit of an announcement while you're dealing with that. Hawaii and Cal, they just announced Brett McMurphy will play in the Hawaii Bowl.
There we go. I'm back. That's the problem with having wireless headphones. I have so many adapters here, all connected to the internet. So if the internet is choppy, sometimes these fade out. Well, big props, big congratulations. Now you have something that we're gonna have to moving forward. You will be everyone. There'll be a target on your back. How's that sound, Matt?
Well, as long as it just keeps doing its job, we should be fine.
SEC, we've talked for weeks. You talked about this guy, that guy. You've come on. He's coming. What the hell? I know you weren't happy with your new Arkansas head coach.
Yeah, so they announced. Here's what I don't get and why I'm not unhappy. Because I like Ryan Silverfield. He was probably my top target halfway through the season, which apparently is when Hunter Yurachek started to talk to Ryan Silverfield about potentially being the next Razorback coach. That was fine. The problem is, because he delayed it so long, if this was going to be the coach, like, go on and announce it. And that's what was annoying us Razorback fans, is we felt like we kept getting, all right, like Alex Golish, who I came on the show last week and announced maybe this is the guy, because that's what was breaking. And what we were told was that it was a done deal. Golish hadn't signed, and all he wanted to do was have a chance to coach his last game and talk to his team. And then Trey Schapp broke the news that we were in talks with Alex Golish. Call it a smokescreen, call it whatever you want. It was bad on us to leak it, and that apparently pissed Golish off. So we went to our number 2, which was Silverfield. I don't know if that was true. Silverfield may have been number 1 the whole time, but you look at Silverfield dropping the last 4 games, Tulane, or dropping the last 3. He didn't win in November. The drop to Navy, Tulane, which is understandable, and ECU. Finished 8-4 in the ACC or AAC. He hasn't been to an AAC conference championship. He took over a Memphis team that was built up by Mike Norvell. He has no track record of building anything. He basically just took over a gauntlet in Memphis and sustained it. And he didn't even sustain it to the top potential. Now, he's saying all the right things. He flipped a couple in-state recruits. Kudos to him. But I got to see some product on the field. And I'm real curious about the January transfer portal opening date. how many guys he retains. I don't know if I want any of the people on this Razorback team to stay, but who can he bring in? Recruiting, we were 69th in the country. We finished 60th. So a small bump, but what he can do in the portal, I think, is going to speak volumes into how we perceive this upcoming season, because it's a tough schedule. I mean, we're Razorback fans are tweeting it out. Maybe 4-8, 3-9. It may be a bad year again, but I guess time will tell. We'll see who we get in the portal. And Hunter Yurachek, between this hire and being the chair of the College Football Playoff Committee, his mentions have been blowing up the last 2 weeks. And we'll get into the College Football Playoff Committee here shortly, but yeah, he has brought this upon himself. The way that he's delegated business, I think he's been so wrong on how it was handled, but we'll see if he can save face and make the Silverfield hire look good at the end of the day.
Well, let's just stay in there. We'll go quickly over the coaching carousel. Florida, big winners.
I like Summerall. And I've seen a lot of Florida fans have said this is Billy Napier 2.0. I don't think you're giving enough credit for Summerall. I think what he's done at Tulane has been good, and I think he's going to get Florida playing so much better than what they were under Napier. So I think that was a great hire.
I was so sick and tired of the Ole Miss Kiffin. I mean, the longer it went on, we knew where it was going to go. It wasn't about the money. I got to sit and pray on it. Lane, please stop. And then, of course, I don't personally like the fact that you go into your coaching staff, say, jump on the plane with me now, or you're not going to be a part of LSU in 2026. And what it really does for me is pisses me off about Ole Miss, the season that they've had, and they're in the hunt for a national championship. Now, I've heard the team has rallied. They're happy where they are. Couple of the guys left, some of them stayed on the coaching staff. And then, of course, then you got the other side saying it's the NCAA's fault for not changing and moving their calendar. Thoughts on the calendar, and then, of course, thoughts on Kiffin leaving Ole Miss and heading to LSU.
Yeah, I think the calendar definitely sucks. I mean, it needs to be changed. They need to push back National Signing Day. I don't see why everything doesn't start like the transfer portal. I think it's January 2nd or January 3rd. There's no reason to rush through. College football is like the NFL now. Say what you will. It's free agency. Coaches don't leave, though, mid-season and go to another team in the NFL. We have contracts in place. They have contracts in college football. I don't understand why we have to be in this situation year in and year out. And I think this Lane Kiffin thing was probably the writing on the wall that it needs to be changed, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's changed next year.
I'll have Ron Momorlewski on at 4:30 Eastern. His under-over was 26 coaches change, and I think we're up to 19. He's probably going to be right on the number, so we'll see what happens when the dust settles.
I'll hit on that too. Like Alex Golish, we may have dodged a bullet. I don't know how he does at Auburn. I think this is a completely different program that he's taking over. The pressure in the SEC, and I don't know, it may just been the couple press conferences I've watched of him. He looks a little overwhelmed already. And I don't know if that's going to translate into being able to replicate what he does. I think he's going to find that coaching in the SEC is a lot more pressure. I mean, because he was playing with house money with South Florida. You take over a team that had 4 wins the previous 3 seasons. You go 7-6 2 years. 7-6 isn't good enough for Auburn. And I'm not saying he can't win 8, 9 games, but eventually Auburn's not going to be happy with 8 or 9 wins. Auburn wants to be in national championships. I don't know if he can get there.
It's no Bo Jackson or Cam Newton walking through that.
There is a big disconnect, I think, in these athletic programs and their expectations. You take Penn State, for instance, who Penn State may be the team that walks away from this with the most egg on their face. They're 150th in recruiting. They had 2 commitments. 2. I think 1 4-star. You fired James Franklin. You've scared every other coach into taking that job. You win 10 games at Penn State, and I don't think they're happy. But I think it's time for Penn State's athletic director to look himself in the mirror and say, all right, maybe this isn't, maybe we didn't handle this right, because they look like they're in trouble. I think some other home run hires were Eric Morris at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's been an offensive juggernaut since I was in diapers, I feel like. Gundy always had great wide receivers, running backs, quarterbacks. That's what Eric Morris is going to bring in. I think that offense for North Texas, and we'll see it on Showcase, I think Friday or Saturday. Friday. And I mean, this Drew Mestermaker kid came in, didn't play football like his junior, senior year in high school. I don't know where Eric Morris found him, but this kid is a stud. If he can find that talent around North Texas, he's going to be able to bring them to Oklahoma State. The recruiting really doesn't drop. He can bring in better players being in a Power 4. I think Oklahoma State's going to be a lot of fun to watch for years to come. I think that was a great hire. But Virginia Tech, obviously, nabbing James Franklin, that was a great hire. But Penn State's just got to be sitting there going, what did we do? What did we do?
I think with the Penn State, they were in a no-win situation because of Franklin. And listen, 9 wins, 10 wins every year, just couldn't beat a top 10 team. I mean, just look at his resume, 0-15, something stupid like that. Showed promise last year in the playoffs, great team. And then all the writing on the wall all off season, all summertime, where it was going to be Penn State, Texas, or Clemson fighting for the national title. And then when you lose the big game at home, and then you go across the country and 22-point favorites to UCLA and lose, I think the AD tried to get cute and say, well, listen, Franklin can't win the big one. Here we were supposed to be in the tournament and the championship game, at least the Final Four, and yet we're going to be outside looking in, and it's only a month, 5 weeks into the season. So let me get ahead of this. Let me silence the crowd who says Franklin can't win the big one. Let me fire him. And he did that. But the problem is sometimes teams, what it takes to get to that 11th win, what it takes to be elite. We talk about the Alabama Georgias and the elite of the elite every year. We were just talking about Auburn. Penn State wants to be there and thinks they should be there. But to be honest with you, you don't have the resources. You can get every kid from Pennsylvania you want. That doesn't match what the SEC is doing, or the kids in Florida are doing, or the kids in Texas that are doing. You start poaching some of those guys with the right coach, which was James Franklin, by the way. Now you're cooking with Crisco. Now they're just so far behind the 8 ball. Why would I want to go to Penn State? I don't even know who the coach is. I don't even know which direction we're going. So they're going to have egg on their face for a long, long time. Be interesting to see which direction they go there. But unfortunately, the Nittany Lions will be, as my dad used to say, the pimple on the ass of progress in the Big Ten for a while now.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to expectations. Like, how many times did we hear after the Florida State loss, Alabama, Kalen DeBoer, Alabama fans are not happy. They want him gone. And now he's got in a position to fight for a college football playoff shot. Mike Elko comes in. A&M fans didn't really like that hire. Look what he's done with A&M in year 2. Really, the only coach that I don't think I've heard on the hot seat outside of Kirby Smart, Dan Lanning, is Kurt Cignetti. Ryan Day, Michigan, the Michigan losses, they're ready to fire him over that. But it's like, all right, who are you going to go get? And that was the thing with Penn State that I didn't understand. You hire a coach that is averaging 9 or 10 wins. Like, who's better? Who's going to leave to come coach Penn State? It's like I think Drew Aller tweeted it out. You don't know what what you've got till it's gone. I mean, they took that for granted. And I think any other coach out there that is averaging 9, 10, 11 wins a season, don't fire them. Don't. There's nobody you can go get. Nick Saban's not getting back into coaching. Like, I don't know who you think you're going to go get that's going to win these games. Look at Texas Tech. Joey McGuire just signed a huge extension. He was 6-7 last year after losing the Liberty Bowl to Arkansas. 6-7. Now he's number 4 in the college football playoff rankings. They're 11-1. Just have some faith in your coach to go win games. The whole 1 year where we're done with you. I don't understand it. I think the best job in America is an ex-college football coach. I think LSU is still paying 3 coaches now.
3 coaches. And again, it just shows the process, meaning I hired you for a reason. Maybe you had a bad year. It takes 2 or 3 years for you to get your place. Now, it's quicker, obviously, with the transfer portal, and obviously nil is a factor. But the whole game has changed. I'm going to go back to Penn State for a second. Before all the politics, before I remember back in the glory days, there was just 2 teams fighting for a national title. Then they extended it to 4. Well, the beauty of Penn State was if we're not in the national title game, there's a good possibility that we're playing in the Rose Bowl, and that was must-watch TV. I'll date myself back in the real heyday. You watch the Rose Bowl parade, and then you listen to Keith Jackson at 5 o'clock as Penn State was playing USC or someone like that. And it was must-watch TV before you got to the Orange Bowl and the Sugar Bowl. So all those days are behind us. So anyways, you brought up something that I'm going to go transition to. At another show, 12 teams in. I've been talking for weeks, on weeks and weeks. And I've asked you a handful of times, what am I missing with this Oregon Duck team? What is everyone else seeing that I'm not seeing this year? And then obviously you guys aren't watching the tape of this Texas Tech team. This Texas Tech team, both sides of the ball, is mauling. Then finally the committee wakes up. After maybe listening to our show last Thursday or actually watching Texas Tech last week, says, you know what, Jeff? We're going to move Texas Tech into the 4th spot and we're going to drop Oregon. Why did it take so long?
I don't know. I've been a believer in this Texas Tech team about mid-season, I think, is when I first placed my first bet on Tech to win the national championship. I mean, outside of their strength of schedule, they are one of the top teams in all offensive and defensive categories. They're number 1 in our defensive IXDSA, which is drive success average. They stop people from being able to score against them. And I think we're going to see that more in this BYU rematch. But for Oregon, they're also quietly really good statistically. They're 4th in overall offense. They're 11th in overall defense. 16th strength of schedule, which is the best of the Big Ten teams in contention here. You've got Ohio State, Indiana at 46 and 45. Notre Dame's at 42. Yeah, I'll lump them in with the Big Ten. Miami's 44th. So I think of the good teams, Oregon is up there. But if you, gun to my head right now, if you said, give me your top 4 teams, it's Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, and Texas Tech.
So you're putting Oregon in front of Georgia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Oregon is built so much more sound, especially defensively. This Georgia team, not great. I mean, I say not great. They're 34th in offense, 31st in defense. That's not your typical Georgia team. And I'm just not buying Georgia or Alabama as being a force. Our metrics actually have Vanderbilt as probably the most dangerous team in the SEC just because they're number 1 in overall offense. but they're 52nd in defense.
Well, we got a bunch of games. Some you would think are meaningful. Some that we think on paper are must-watch TV. That's Ohio State and Indiana, and then we'll get to Georgia, Alabama. Some winning in. That's obviously the ACC here. BYU could throw a huge wrench into the committee on Sunday night, or I think it's Sunday night. The fact is, if BYU wins, they're in, and Texas Tech will drop out of the top 4. They'll drop a few spots. There goes another spot for the SEC. And obviously, Virginia, or can you imagine Duke at 7-5, then 8-5 gets in. But then Miami, who's the best team in the ACC outside looking in. I'm going to start with Ohio State and Indiana. Neither team, regular season trophies in the trophy case back on campus used to mean a lot. Last year, Ohio State didn't play in this game and then ran the gauntlet. Haven't lost since. Since losing to Michigan last year, last regular season game, haven't lost. Indiana and Signetti, I was watching them Saturday night, second half. That guy just won't let up. He won't let up. He wants to get into the 50s, and he did it again. Other than that trophy, you want everyone to come out healthy. Expectation, thoughts, why bet the game? Someone brought this up, and I'm just reiterating. Great. Instead of taking Ohio State +4, -4, or instead of taking Indiana +4, if you like Indiana, take the plus money on Mendoza to win the Heisman. If you like Ohio State, don't lay the 4, take Sagan to win the Heisman.
Yeah, the problem is Diego Pavia. I think this team here late.
Who's he playing this Saturday?
He was off. But
he's off.
The affair that the media has with the SEC.
No chance, Matt.
This
no
guy
chance.
Went from +325 to +175.
No chance. Zero chance
for the favorite. Is this the closest Heisman race we've ever had?
That's called phony steam. There is no chance Pavia is winning. He's not playing on Saturday. No chance. The winner, unless it's 3-0, the winner of the Ohio State-Indiana game, that quarterback will be your Heisman Trophy winner.
Say it's 27-24, and both quarterbacks have thrown an interception and 1 or 2 touchdowns. Nobody throws over 300 yards. Nobody even throws over 250.
Okay.
You look at their stats, even with that extra game, they're still not surpassing Diego Pavia's stats.
Is Diego playing in the championship game? That's just my question.
He is not.
He gets to go to New York. He gets to go to New York and sit with the.
He's +2,200.
Yeah, and he got a lot of steam the last 2 weeks until this week. So, again, Diego, year number 7, great year. God bless you.
I'm just saying, don't be surprised if Diego Pavia is holding that Heisman Trophy next Saturday.
I'll bet you a steak dinner. I think he's going to end up finishing second because the loser will drop to third. I'll even give you the one. The winner of the Big Ten is your Heisman Trophy winner. Diego second, and then the loser drops to 3 and Love finishes 4th.
And here I'm just sitting here contemplating whether or not I want to bet on Pavia because I've got a Mendoza ticket.
So you need to go bet the Ohio State quarterback.
I don't think he wins it.
Okay.
Unless he throws for 300 yards in a perfect game, no interceptions, 3 touchdowns, I don't think he has a shot.
Okay. What's his odds, by the way?
They're all +175 right now.
Okay. So you rather take a guy sitting there watching the game versus a guy playing the game?
I think what he did last weekend was enough in the voters' eyes, plus the SEC bias that is always there. He did it. He had a great year, threw for over 4,000 yards in the SEC. I think that speaks volumes to a lot of these people that are voting.
All right. Well, the game I really want to talk to, we talked to backstage. I already kind of tipped my hand there. Georgia, Alabama. Alabama already won between the hedges. We know Kirby Smart is 1-7 against Alabama. His only win, a national title win, which was a rematch where Alabama had to win to get in the SEC championship against Georgia. They did. Georgia didn't lay down, but they didn't show their hand. And then Kirby Smart said, "Hold my beer," and they win the national title. I talked to you backstage. I talked to Mr. Benson at the Circa this morning. Thank you so much. The line opened up a pick. There's only one way that line can go, and that's Georgia money. It's now Georgia minus 2.5. Georgia is currently third in the rankings. Even if they lose, they're still in. Alabama already has 2 losses. If they lose, that will be 3 losses, which opens up the doors again for Notre Dame and Miami, since Georgia lost. Then the other side is, well, why should Alabama get punished for playing in a championship game? So before we break down this game, thoughts on, if Alabama wins, obviously they're in. If Alabama loses, are they out?
I think they should be. I think it's bullcrap that they jumped Notre Dame for what Hunter Yurachek said was a gutsy call in a rivalry game to go for it on 4th down. They lost to Florida State, who's abysmal. And it wasn't
game
even
of the year.
Competitive. It
First
wasn't
game
even
of the year.
competitive.
First game of the year, though. Remember back in the day, it was when you lost. If you lost the first game of the year and you cheated, you were in the Final Four. Let me backtrack to Saturday. True story, because I was on Auburn.
It was the loss to Oklahoma at home.
Who's in the tournament? Who's in the tournament? Oklahoma. But let me take you back to Saturday. Funny story. I told you I loved Auburn. I thought they were a live dog. I had Auburn +6. I had pizza and beer money on the money line. True story. 4th and 2 from the 6. I'm in my room now. Get the big screen going on. I'm getting 6. Now, we know if Alabama loses, the season's over. They're out. And then the DeBoer news starts getting a little chipper-chapper. I came back, and I fell out of my bed. I was like, they went for it? They were tied, and they didn't take the layup 3. Not only did they go for it, they didn't just get the first down, they got a touchdown. And the sad part about it is Auburn was driving. They got it down to the 20. The kid tried to make an extra move, punches the ball out, game over. And Riverboat Ron, Dan Campbell, whatever you want to call him on that play, that was the most asinine go for it and and succeed play that's not DeBoer. That is not DeBoer.
I mean, they knew that they had to win. And at that point, you need to win convincingly or else the committee's going to dock you, is what they're telling you week in and week out. But there's also no consistency in the playoff committee as to what they look at. They talk about head-to-head, but then they don't talk about head-to-head with Miami, Notre Dame.
Matt, it doesn't matter if you win.
10-2 Oklahoma, 10-2 Vanderbilt, 9-3, or 10 and what would they be? If Alabama loses, they'll be 9-3.
10-3. No, 9-3 or 10-3. But you can poke holes in everyone. I mean the fact of the matter.
But if you're talking about the most recent games, you lost at home to Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
You lost to a really bad Florida State team in a game that you were never even competitive in.
You have to take the Florida State game off, because if you're gonna take that to the grave, then I'm gonna go in Sox camp, because they could have played Ohio U instead of traveling to Ohio State. They're not getting credit for that loss. take that one off the thing. And I'm not here supporting Texas. My point is, once they lost to Florida State, 13-point favorites on the road, which they were disengaged from kickoff, hats off to you. You were on Florida State on our show. And I said, make sure you put some beer and pizza money on the money line. And the fact of the matter is, then they went on their run. They went into Georgia and won. Okay? So the Oklahoma loss, it stings. Not so much because it was Oklahoma, but where they lost late in the season. That's why, again, the Auburn, style points. Well, when you're late in the fourth quarter, tied, you take the 3 and then you hope your defense holds. There was no style points going for it on 4th and 2, because if you didn't get it and they came down to kick the game-winning field goal, not only is your season over, the Crimson Tide want your head.
I'm just not a believer in this Alabama team.
Okay, so let me take it a step further. I get it. The world gets it. Why'd the line open up a pick?
Because the public, everybody's assuming Georgia's going to win this rematch.
So why didn't it open up Georgia -2.5? Why didn't it open up Georgia -3 or 3.5? Because they wanted the Georgia money. That's why it opened up at a pick. Let me get the Georgia money to move it to 1, 1.5, 2, and now 2.5. If they wanted the Bama money, it would have opened up at 3.5 or 3. But like Mr. Benson at the Circa, we know everyone's going to come to the window and bet Georgia. No one's betting on Alabama. So let's open it up a pick. You watch the CLV waterfalls if Alabama wins the game outright. I had Georgia at a pick. Look at this ticket.
Yeah. I don't know. Like you said, Kirby Smart 1-7 against Alabama. That's a problem. But Georgia's playing a lot better than they were in week 4.
Correct.
But I think Georgia wins. I think you're talking about Alabama being 10-3. How far do they drop? They may still get in, but I mean, I think every team, like you said, you can poke holes in, except for Georgia. I think Georgia's in no matter what. They could lose by 40.
Well, let me ask you this. This would save the debate. Notre Dame and Miami. Notre Dame lost by 3 opening week in Miami. Then they lose to once was an undefeated team to A&M by a missed extra point. But it seemed like they were going to beat Notre Dame runner-ups last year in the championship game. Notre Dame was going to get in, and Miami, outside looking in, was not, even though they beat them. And I think, to be honest with you, Notre Dame should be penalized. Enough's enough. It's 2025, almost 2026. Pick a conference and play in a conference. You want to go to the Big Ten, go to the Big Ten. You play ACC sports, then you play ACC football. Enough. Otherwise, put Miami in and then explain this to Notre Dame. You're not as big as you used to be. You used to have your own network. Keep your own network. You think that you move the needle? Well, you don't move the needle like you used to. Pick a conference, or this is going to happen to you year after year. By choosing your schedule, playing the ladies of the cupcakes, and then picking who you want to play as a quote-unquote tough game.
Yeah. I think that their schedule, you look at it, it does not match what Miami played the rest of the way. And you can say throw out the Florida State-Alabama game because it happened in week 1. Well, Miami beat Notre Dame in week 1. And I'm not saying Notre Dame in a rematch. I think we make Notre Dame -6. Like, Notre Dame probably does win in a rematch. But guess what we're not going to get to see this weekend is Notre Dame play. Now, the ACC is an absolute cluster because we don't have the best team in the ACC playing in the conference game either. But at least Miami's 2 losses, 2 conference opponents, and say what you will, the ACC may not be great, but there's a difference in playing conference games. I I mean, you see it all across the sport. I mean, Indiana gets taken to the wire by Penn State. South Carolina almost upsets Alabama. Kentucky almost upsets Texas. Like, they're not going and playing Stanford or San Jose State or Northern Illinois. Like, it is a completely different game when you're playing in a conference game. And that's what Notre Dame gets the benefit of not even experiencing. You lose, oh well.
No, and if Nick comes on tomorrow, I'm going to put him right to the fire. Enough's enough here. This you dictate your schedule. No conference, Mr. Independence is done.
Yeah,
I give you 1 year. I give you 1 year. Next year you can do the same thing. The following year, forget about it. Take a conference.
The fact of the matter is, Notre Dame's 2 toughest games of the year, they lost. They need to be penalized for that.
Well, and then the flip side is by 4 points, of course. So we could talk for hours about this, of course. Any in-pocket plays, anything for people watching that you got for tomorrow or Saturday? Anything that you see?
Yeah, first 2 things I bet was North Texas money line and Virginia money line. I think with Summerall and Morris both taking new jobs, I think North Texas is probably in a situation where they have a little bit more to play for. I don't know if Tulane gets up for this game. I think North Texas's offense is too good. I mean, we've seen Tulane struggle against really good offenses, and I think that's going to be much of the same with North Texas here. So I like them. And then Virginia Duke, Duke, give me a break. If Duke wins this game, one, I don't think they're making it in the college football playoff. And 2, what are you doing, Virginia? Because they were in a position here to really be able to be one of the best teams in the ACC, and then kind of fumbled it along through the year. But Virginia's got to be able to slam the door here and earn their spot in the playoff.
And you talked about North Texas, you talked about Tulane, and the best of the 3 is James Madison.
Yeah, there's a reason why they're laying 22.5, though. I'm not going to bet it. I think they probably cover it. Bob Chesney going to UCLA, and what I think is another great hire. I'm not touching that spread, though. Too big. I like Boise State, Maddox Madsen coming back. Hopefully he's at least 90%. UNLV 0-7 on the road in the Smurf turf. I think Boise State rolls in this game. Dan Mullen's not going anywhere. I don't know if that really moves the needle enough to pull the upset. So Boise State would be my third play. And then this Texas Tech team, I think they're a gauntlet. I hammered them against BYU earlier in the season. I think they're going to roll. They left a lot of points off the board in that first matchup that I think they can get this time.
Does BYU get a bump winning in and the real bump that the coach decided to stay?
I don't think so. I mean, I think Kalani Sitake's a great coach, but I just think they're completely outmanned. This Texas Tech team, if you haven't watched them, they play like your Georgia and Alabama top teams. They're dominant at the line. They can run the ball. Dickey is great. The quarterback for Texas Tech, Baron Morton, he is a stud. They've got playmakers on the outside. The defense is a real problem. Real problem. I think they are completely sound, and they're playing some of their best football. Joey McGuire gets that big extension. They're 4th in the playoff rankings. I think they come out motivated to keep this train going.
Well, again, it's been a great show. We could talk for hours here. We're going to take next week off. We're going to let Army Navy take their due there. We're going to bring you back the next 2 weeks. We'll figure out some time slots. The regular time on the 18th, of course, as we get ready for the tournament. And then, obviously, the following Thursday will be Thanksgiving. I was going to say Christmas. So we'll figure out something then. Scroller's been going the whole time, Mr. Number One, at Grissom on X at NCAA Insiders. But as we always wrap up this show, tell them where they can find all your written work.
It is at mattgrissom.com. That'll take you to the Linktree page. You can look at all the simulations for the week from that model, and all my plays and stuff I usually tweet out. But there's also a bet tracker on there you can go on and take a look at. And as far as the Ohio State-Indiana game, I think you lay it with Ohio State. I think they're that much better than the rest of the field. And I think they proved that on Saturday.
And you talk about, frauds, and I'm not saying Indiana's a fraud, but if the final score was one of those 33-6s with 2 field goals, and then how far did they drop Indiana then, and who have they played? I mean, listen, when they got an opportunity, Signetti and company, Mendoza, they step on your neck. But this Ohio State defense is second to none with Matt Patricia calling the shots there. We got in, you'll laugh at us at this one. We had Michigan team total first half over 7.5, and they kicked 3 field goals, and we cashed that ticket, and they didn't score the rest of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I was on Ohio State last week. Thankful for that cover. I think they know what's at stake. Ryan Day is the epitome of a CEO coach. He's going to let his play callers call plays. I just don't think Indiana is at that level yet. And they may prove me wrong, and I'll be tickled to death because anybody that knows me or have followed me, they know I'm an Ohio State hater. But I think the proof is in the pudding. I think Ohio State's just a better team.
Well, again, we can't thank you enough. Congrats again on the number 1 ranking. Let's keep it up. 4:30, Ron Momorlewski will be back live from LA. I'll be here on Cape Cod where it's a nice, cool 39 degrees. Big shout out to Matt, of course, for his weekly contributions here as we get closer to college baseball. It will be here before you know it. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at DC Sports Invest, the one and only Mr. Matt Grissom at Grissom on X at NCAA Insiders, head on over to mattgrissom.com to his link tree. Find all his written work. Enjoy the afternoon, people. We'll be back soon, and stay tuned.